Hello, hello. I hope you are all doing well today. I wasn't planning on filming a video today. I was going to have a really productive admin day, which I know sounds thrilling. I've just got myself into such a state. You know, when you get yourself overwhelmed with stress to the point that you start feeling a bit anxious, and it can be quite hard to know how to move forward from there. Like, I often get myself a little bit stuck where I'm almost just like paralyzed with things that I need to do, and I just don't even know how to begin approaching them. So I thought to myself, what do I need to do that's also something I want to do, and it should hopefully just help to ease me back into being able to get things done. And plant things obviously are things on my list that I would really just love nothing more than to just sit down and do. So I thought that's what this very random little spontaneous video could be today. I've got various things that I have been meaning to do for a while. Things like, for example, getting my begonia Sinbad out of this sodding jar that I know I'm going to have to break in order to get it out, because it is so wedged in there. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, things that I have been wanting to do, have been wanting to kind of chat through with you. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying really, but that's what this video is going to be. So if you've got stuff to do as well, as always, join me. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learnt over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And yeah, it's just going to be a little bit of everything this morning, but hopefully just some anti-anxiety, productive, cozy, calm, mindful plant chores. That's what I'm going for. So yes, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So I have spent all of 2 minutes setting up for this video because, as I say, it's a bit of a spontaneous one. But in a nutshell, my beautiful begonia Sinbad that I love more than anything has started to go a little bit downhill. And as you can see at the bottom here, a lot of its leaves are starting to turn, and I am confident that's because it's massively outgrown this jar, but I can't get it out of the jar because it's got this like bit where it goes in at the top. So I'm gonna have to break the jar, and I've been looking everywhere for a hammer this morning and I can't find a hammer. However, I can find one of Ross's weights. This is definitely don't try this yourself at home kind of thing. But what I'm thinking is I'll probably just wrap the jar in a tea towel, give it a really good whack, and then yeah, get it into its next container, and we'll come to that momentarily because I'm not entirely sure what I want to put it in. I've got a couple of options, but for the time being, let me just adjust the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, if I had a hammer, I would be doing it with that, and I'm actually not sure if the whole weight is the best way to go about it, or maybe just one of them. I really just need the top of the jar to break, if nothing else, just so that I can get the plant out. And assuming this works, I've got another one that I need to break as well. Yoli, bless her, is not going to like this. All right, baby girl, I'm just going to... Oh, you know what? I don't think it's going to break that easily. All right, baby girl. There we go. It's normal. There we go. I'm just trying to get her used to the noise. Let's try one more time. Okay, so I've broken it at the bottom. That's worked. I just need to give it one more whack at the top. Sorry, baby girl, last one. There we go. Okay, job done. This obviously now is messy, so I'm gonna just, luckily, actually, that has all gone into the towel. Oh, in fact, I've got some glass in amongst the roots. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this a shake over the bin before I do anything else, because obviously I don't want bits of glass going into my feet or into paws. So bear with me for just one moment. Right, fabulous. That actually wasn't as awful as I thought it might be. So I want to continue to grow it the way that I've been growing it so far, in no drainage with semi-hydro at the bottom and then just like a chunky mix on top. And I have got this, which actually is just a storage container. You know, you can get like food storage and they have little bamboo lids. That's what it is. And I could grow it in there, but I'm just thinking, if you look how rooty that is, I kind of want to offer scope for it to size up. And I did actually order something with this in mind, but I think you're going to laugh at this. It's a bit ridiculous. I basically went on a floral website, so like a place that you get like vases and stuff for flowers. And I didn't realise that this was quite this big, but I got this massive glass like cylinder thing. And although I think the plant would definitely grow into this, I'm like, is it too much for now? Because obviously, bearing in mind that is a ridiculously huge pot upgrade. The only thing I'm thinking with this is that if I was to do like a really thick layer of semi-hydro at the bottom and then not fill the soil too much, then I could just essentially build it up as the plant grows. Because I think this one is going to fill out and like spread very quickly, because it already is like at the back. I don't know if you can see, it's got all of these new growth points coming in. So I'm like, do I risk it? Yeah, I think I actually am going to go for it. If I'm going to monitor the plant closely, and if it starts going downhill from me doing this, I will of course switch things up, but I think I'm going to go with the big one. Yeah, right, okay, let's do it. But I think part of the reason why I'm feeling just a little bit like aggy today, oh god, yesterday I had, it's almost comical in hindsight, but I had an absolute day from hell. I've been having some, like, I won't go into detail, but just like sickness things that have been going on for a while. So I had some doctor's appointments booked, and I went for blood tests, and I couldn't book the blood test close to where I lived. I had to travel like 45 minutes to get there, and I was like, I'll drive it. Like, I'm trying to get better with driving, and I am getting way more confident with my driving. I actually genuinely feel quite proud of myself. But I got in the car to drive, and I noticed that the tyres needed, one of the tyres is doing a weird thing, and it needed petrol. So I pulled in at a petrol station, topped up the tyres, filled up the petrol, carried on my merry way, and I got about half an hour down this road. And I had actually noticed a couple of cars flashing at me, and I don't know, I didn't think anything of it. And then this guy pulls alongside me, and he's like, wind your window down. And we're going like 60 miles an hour at this point, and I was just like, oh my God, what's going on? And basically, I hadn't put the petrol cap back on the car. So I was like, oh my God, what do I do? Pulled over, sorted it out, it was fine. But then got to my blood test, and I am such a wimp with blood tests, injections, anything like that. I get really freaked out, and I know it might seem stupid because I've got tattoos, but there's something, I think firstly there's something about like something going right into you and either like putting something in your body or taking something from your body. I don't know, I just absolutely hate it. I've always hated it. I'm like ironically actually better nowadays, but I do still numb my arm when I go for blood tests, so I can try and just look the other way and pretend it's not happening. So I got numbing cream from Boots, and like I numbed where they take the blood, drove all the way over there, blah, blah, blah. Got there, and they were like, we can't do anything without these forms that you were meant to bring with you. And I was just like, no one told me I was supposed to bring forms. I have recently re-registered with a new doctor's surgery, and yeah, it had just been miscommunication. So I just burst into tears, and they were like, oh, don't worry, we'll try and book you in somewhere else. So after all that, I drove all the way back home with no blood tests. And then, yeah, and then for various reasons ended up in kind of different surgeries for more or less the rest of the day before having to go and get on a train and go and meet a friend in London. And I got back very late last night and I was like, oh, this day has just been the worst and I haven't got anything done that I need to get done. And so, yeah, going into this morning, I think I was just a little bit, you know, when you just hang on to things and you should just let them go. I think I was just a little bit frustrated that I wasn't where I wanted to be by the end of yesterday. And for that reason, like, it hasn't done me any favours, but I've just kind of carried that into the start of today. This is also going to look quite pretty in, sorry, I'm going completely off topic, in this big jug. So you're going to be able to see the layers a little bit better, which I'm quite excited about. But yeah, I woke up this morning and I was looking at planty things and I was like, oh, I would love nothing more than to just like sit down and do some things with the plants. But because I had admin and boring things, I was like, no, do that first. And realistically, I honestly think I should have started my morning with this because I probably would have set myself up in a much better way. Say you live and you learn, but I've done this before and I'm still here. So, but yeah, these are things that I have, as I say, not just had to do, but genuinely wanted to do for quite a while. Also, soil-wise, this is tree fern fibre, worm castings and Soil Ninja's base mix, which is pretty much what I've used. God, this is so dry at the moment. Pretty much what I've used for this plant already. And I'm just going to stick with that because it has kept the plant very happy. I think I'm probably going to have to mix up a bit more as well. But yeah, I'm just going to give it lots of room to breathe because, as I say, I know I am taking a bit of a risk here in pot sizing up so much. The only reason I say I'm taking a risk is just because obviously if you overwhelm roots with moisture that they can't absorb, then it can essentially cause things like root rot. And yeah, this one has got very fine spindly roots. However, it's been drying out pretty much every single day in the jar that it's been in. So I really hope this is gonna help. I also don't know how much I want to break up the root system. I might just kind of loosen it a bit as opposed to actually breaking it up. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. As I say, like the amount of times I've thought to myself, like, just stop, take a moment, do something calm and relaxing, which for me typically tends to involve plants. And I do feel better. You know what, like I've literally just started filming this video and already I feel calmer. It's so simple, isn't it? It's so simple, but you spend so much time working yourself up to the point that, like, I don't know. There's an easy answer and this is the easy answer. So I don't know why I don't just listen and take my own advice more often. Oh. But I am just going to mix up a little bit more soil before I pot this up. And in fact, I've got a little bit of bark here as well, which I'm going to include. Weirdly, loads of places, including Soil Ninja, where I usually get all my supplies from, loads of places are super, super low on bark at the moment. I think they've had issues with, I don't know, where they get it from. I've noticed it quite a lot over the past year, actually. But yeah, I currently haven't been able to get hold of any more, so this is, I'm not going to use all of it, in fact, because this is kind of the last of it. Oh my God, also last night, I know I said I was out for a friend's thing in London. I got a text from Ross being like, I owe you money. He was at home watching Yoli. He was like, I owe you money. And I was like, what have you done? And you know, Yoli's lovely new dog bed. So bless her, apparently she just ate her dinner a bit too quickly and had a bout of sickness in her bed last night when I wasn't here. So Ross is like, I'm going to wash the bed. And honestly, like for a very nice dog bed, and that was not a cheap dog bed, I might add, for a very nice dog bed, you'd think they would offer like a zip on, zip off option with the cushions. I'm also highly aware that this is a very boring story, but they don't. And so Ross just put the whole thing in the washing machine. And we've got these things that, if you're a pet owner, you probably either know about them or you should. But they're like these like squidgy dog, they're like paw prints, and you get them on Amazon. They're very cheap. And you basically put them in with your clothes and they get rid of dog hair. Like all the dog hair will stick to them instead of your clothes. Typically that works really well, but Ross decided to put this, I think he put it on a wash and dry. And he put a green one in with the bed, and in fact the bed is hanging on the door behind me. I'll show you it. Long and the short of it is the whole thing went green. Oh, in fact on camera it looks relatively normal. But yeah, the whole thing went green and started not falling apart, but like all the fillings started separating and stuff. So, so yeah. I mean, you can only laugh really, can't you? But hopefully it's salvageable, because it's a very new bed and she really likes it as well, bless her. Also, I've just spread the roots a little bit. I'm not gonna break them up anymore just because I don't think it needs it. Obviously this plant is no longer going to be able to live by the TV though, because it's going to be very tall. I do hope I'm making the right choice here. In fact, I'm just going to prune back some of those lower leaves that are starting to turn, just because they are not going to do the plant any favours. So I do hope this one now perks up and its roots spread a little bit, and yeah, hopefully I'll be showing you a much healthier plant in a week or so. I'll do an update so that you can see how it gets on. Yeah, the other thing obviously I could do is I could divide, because I've got 3 plants in here now, I could technically divide them and break them up. But I don't want to. I really want to grow a big bushy one. So let's wait and see. Bless Yoli doesn't like this at all. I know, there's lots of banging, isn't there, darling? Right. So, again, on camera, this doesn't look as big. Like, I think this is a 40 centimetre tall pot. It's really, really tall. But I am quite excited about this, actually. I think it offers so much potential for the plant. I'm going to just fill a reservoir to about there, and I'm just going to keep monitoring it. Very much in the same way as I did when it was in the jar before. But yeah, I think this should work really quite well. So I'll fill up the reservoir after I have finished filming this. And then this is going to involve one more jar break. I know Yoli's not going to like this. But my Cuban oregano Mexican mint, the Coleus amboinicus, which I adore, is in this teeny tiny jar, which you never know, I might actually be able to bash this and get it out. I'll give that a go first. I think it's rather unlikely, because again, I think it's just going to be held in there. Oh, and I'm also knocking growth off, whoopsie. Oh, the smell of this one is so beautiful. Oh, maybe this is loosening a little bit. But yeah, I've got a really cool planter I want to put this in, actually, because obviously it's become very top heavy and it's kind of like falling over quite a lot. I found these again from the florist place that I was just talking about, these cube planters, and I think that actually meant for candles, but I thought it would work quite well at just providing like a nice strong base for this plant, which it clearly needs. Also, the camera is, for some reason, going to die already. So, one second, I'm just going to change the battery. How bizarre. My camera just does that sometimes, and I don't know why. Yeah, but I'm just thinking that this is probably going to be a really great planter for a plant like this that obviously is so fast to grow and is kind of toppling over quite a lot. So yeah, I'd really like to, we had a little bit more light in the kitchen here. I'd really like to grow this one in the kitchen because it's just so fantastic to cook with. Like, I actually, now that it's growing so quickly and bushing out so much, I don't mind chopping it back a bit and actually using it in the kitchen. I think I said before, I add it to guacamole quite a lot, and oh my god, it is just so delicious. It doesn't taste that minty, it's more just like herby. Oh, I just don't know if I can get this out without damaging the roots, you know. Oh no, I think I'm gonna have to break the I was gonna say break the neck, break that bit again, the bit that goes round. Oh, sorry girl, sorry yos. I'm gonna just try and do this with one relatively gentle, swift bang. I'm so sorry about this, baby girl. Oh, okay. Nice. Nice. That's actually very satisfying. I think that's kind of what I needed today. So again, just going to make sure all of the glass goes into the towel. Fabulous. And I was going to say I would just leave that, but you know what, I'm going to go deal with it right away just in case I forget. And yeah, now very similarly, should I say, to how I just set up the begonia, I'm just going to use the same thing to do in this, and I think this should be big enough. If it isn't, if I do need to switch this up at some point soon, it's going to be so much easier to just lift the plant out because obviously it doesn't go in at the top. So yeah, I'm going to just do the same thing again, except I'm probably going to just add a little bit more semi-hydro into the mix for like drainage because this is a semi-succulent. Again, I'm not gonna massively break up the root system. It does spread itself quite easily. So yeah, I'm just gonna mix in some semi-hydro. God, yeah, this one is spreading like a weed. It's kind of just like, I've just let it go and it's naturally almost like trailing out of its pot now. I'm not sure, I don't know, I guess I could grow it as a trailing plant, or do I just prune it right back? I don't know, it looks kind of cool like this. I also quite like that you kind of can't see the planter. I think I'm going to keep it as is for the time being. It's kind of wild. It looks also so much bigger than it did before in the jar. But I'm just gonna have a clear up. The next thing I want to do is extend the moss pole of my Philodendron Majestic, that's what it's called. I want to extend the moss pole of my Philodendron Majestic, but I want to make sure there's no glass or anything like that on the floor. I don't think there is, but I'm just gonna clean as I go today, just to make sure. So I've just got classically distracted, but before I move on to extending the moss pole, my Anthurium magnificum regal hybrid that was my import plant from Rhodesia has just given me the first new leaf that I've had since I've owned the plant, which is very exciting. But in the last few days, as the leaf started to harden off, I can actually see quite a bit of damage. Like if you look at the top just there, it almost looks pesty, and then it's starting to spread down the leaf there, which is a little bit worrying. And I've given the leaf a really good look over. I can't for the life of me see anything. But I was very kindly sent this little, so this also isn't sponsored, but I was sent this little lens by a company called APEXEL, and they basically just said, could they send it to me and could I kind of have a play about with it, test it out. They've also given a discount code for you guys to use if you fancy using it, so I'll leave all the details down below. But basically, it's actually really, really good. It's a little microscope that goes onto your smartphone, so you can just essentially like clip it on, put it over the camera lens, and I've used it for quite a few plants now. And in fact, I found spider mites on my Alocasia mitchellitziana the other day, and I'll put a clip in so that you can see, but you could see them so clearly on this, and you couldn't in real life. I've said before, like having a little handheld microscope as a plant parent is such a good idea. But yeah, I just kind of want to take a look at this one and just see if there's anything to worry about, because I don't like it when plants start doing things that I don't understand. And usually, or sometimes should I say, you can't actually see until the issue gets quite bad. So yeah, this little thing's just got a light like that, and you can change the light depending on what you want. I mean, I have just had it on the completely clear light. And then I will, sorry for my shaky hands, but I'll film this so that you can see what I'm seeing. So yeah, even up close, it looks like pest damage, but I can't see any pests themselves. I did give everything in that area a wipe over about a week ago, but I would have thought if there were pests active, I would be able to see something. Oh, but you know what? And actually, I couldn't really see this without the microscope. Those little spots that are so small, but they almost look fungal. So I feel like maybe a fungicide treatment is in order with this plant. What a shame. I don't think it's bad enough to actually chop the leaf, but I will definitely treat it just to be on the safe side. Yeah, that very much looks fungal to me. So my process of how I do things at this stage, assuming it's not awful, which this isn't, when it comes to a fungal treatment, I use a baking soda treatment. And in fact, I will write on the screen what I do. It's very, very simple. And yeah, I will just do this as often as need be. I mean, it is a natural treatment. It is very gentle. I've never found there to be any issues from doing it. Like I've never had any bad side effects from my plants. I just make sure not to get it into the soil. But yeah, I will probably do that this evening. I've got a load of plants in the bathroom at the moment, but I'll probably do that this evening, give it a spray down, and then just keep the plant isolated and hope that there are no more issues like this, and hope that it doesn't get any worse. But yeah, that's kind of a positive and negative. The positive is it's given me its first new leaf. The negative is it's not as great as maybe it could be. It's not as healthy as it could be. But yeah, thank you so much, APEXEL, for sending me this as well. And as I say, I'll link it down below. Oh, turn the light off. There we go. Yeah, I'll link it down below with the discount code that they've given for you guys to use. And yeah, based on what I've used it for so far, I would highly recommend it. I also have seen people doing like soil science stuff with it and kind of looking at things under the microscope in that way. So yeah, I'm enjoying playing around with it, and it's definitely a very useful thing for me as a plant parent to have. And before I do anything else, I am actually just going to quickly wash my hands just in case I pass anything on. So once again, bear with me. So yeah, the moss pole extension of my Philodendron Majestic, as you can see, it's sizing up amazingly. I'm so happy with how this plant's doing, but it has started to grow a little bit weird and wonky, so I'm gonna need to kind of try and train it to straighten up again. And I've actually never extended this kind of moss pole before. This is just a moss pole that I got on Amazon, and you know what? I'm actually really enjoying using it. It's I think because it's almost pure like polycarbonate, it really is good at retaining the moisture. I've gone days without rehydrating the moss poles and they're still damp when I come back to them. So yeah, I'm enjoying using them. Not that I want to, I'd much prefer to support small businesses than promote Amazon products, but it's pretty good. So yeah, I've got another section here which I have got, what am I saying? I think I might be able to just kind of slot it into, oh, hang on, you know what? Oh, you numpty Claire, this is actually a smaller section. I didn't realise they were different sizes. Okay, right. For the time being, this might need to be a little creative extension, and then I might need to, yeah, you know what? I think actually I can make this work. So I can see it's got some holes at the front here, and assuming the holes are in the same place on the slightly smaller pole, I should just be able to, in theory, like cable tie it together and then extend it upwards. What I will probably do at some point is, in fact, my grand plan for this plant is probably when it's given me, let's say, reach the end of this moss pole bit, I will probably actually chop this plant, just because obviously it starts with very small growth down here, and I'd like to grow a really big Philodendron Majestic if I can. So what I'll probably do when it gets to the end of this moss pole is a chop and extend. So I would just like it to root for now, and then I will be chopping the plant up anyway. So you know what, it probably doesn't matter if this moss pole isn't going to be great for like the next couple of, I was going to say couple of years, but you know what I mean, like if it's not a long-term thing. So yeah, let's just see if this is even going to work. And if it's not, you know what I can do? I've got a little hole punch. I'm just going to punch my own holes, and then I can extend it anyway. And what I didn't know last time as well, this is just me being dense, but there's actually like a protective layer of film that you can peel off, and then your pole is all shiny. Not that I particularly care about that, but it does look better than, oh, damn it. Yeah, it does look better than just like it peeling off gradually over time. Yeah, look at that. So yeah, as I say, the Philodendron Majestic is a philodendron that I've been excited to grow for years and years and years, and I've just only got fairly recently, I think it was a few months ago, my import order. But it's a hybrid philodendron. It's a cross between the Philodendron verrucosum and the Philodendron soderoy. And I haven't actually grown a true soderoy before. I've only grown a soderoy AF. Which is a crawling soderoy, so it grows quite differently. And I know my experience with the verrucosum, the pure verrucosum, has not been the greatest. It's a philodendron that I really have struggled with. But I do often find that hybrid plants, and this goes for lots of different types of plants, philodendron, anthurium, hybrid plants typically tend to be, and I don't want to jinx it here, but tend to be a little bit easier to grow. They're a little bit more resilient, less prone to issues. And although it's early days with this one, I think the same can be said for this, because I've had honestly no issues at all. It's just been going really well, and it's been growing really quickly for me. And yeah, like it's given me, I think it had these leaves up to there when I first got it. So all of this here, these 3 leaves, is new growth. And it is getting ready to give me another leaf there as well, which is beyond exciting. Also, look at the back of that leaf. You can really see the verrucosum in it there, the pink back. But But yeah, as I say, my absolute dream is to grow a huge, big, beautiful one because, oh my God, when they are big and mature, their leaves are just so gorgeous and pillowy. So that's the grand plan. That's the grand plan. And I'm actually wondering, I might not need to. I was going to say, should I be reinforcing the pole at this stage just so that it's a little bit stronger? But I think right now, because the plant is quite juvenile and it's not very heavy, I don't think I need to worry about that just yet. But yeah, can you see what I'm doing? My camera is doing all sorts of weird things at the moment, but one of the things it's doing is it will show me a bigger shot than actually what records. Not particularly interesting, I know, but it does just mean that sometimes I'll set myself up to film something and I'll be like, oh yeah, you can see perfectly. And then I'll look back at it and I'm like, actually, you can't see anything. I had a video that I filmed a couple of weeks ago, actually, that I very sadly had to scrap in the end, just because I was like, you can literally see, like, you just couldn't see anything that I was doing. And I was like, this is not going to be fun to watch. So I might post it as a Patreon video, I don't know, but I think it's probably one for the bin. Okay, so if I can line up the holes that I've just punched here with the ones that already exist on this moss pole, I'm just gonna cable tie them in place. And then it should be nice and secure. Which actually is not quite as straightforward as you might think, because actually feeding it through. Wondering actually maybe I won't do up the moss pole to start with, or you know what, Claire, this would be easier. Undo the top of the other moss pole. There we go, that gives me a little bit more wiggle room. God, that's still pretty fiddly. Okay. There we go. And now I can just chop off those ends with the scissors that I did bring over. Fab. Now I have to try and do it all up again. And I'm actually wondering at the back if I might be able to slot the new moss pole in with the old moss pole to kind of join them together a little bit better. If I can't, I don't think it's the end of the world, to be honest. In fact, yeah, no, I'm not going to bother with that. So yeah, cool. Now I can just fill as I go. And I know I keep saying it, but I have like actually decided I am 100% going to chop up my Monstera dubia. I've got a beautiful section of growth on the top that's growing. Oh my God, it's just so lovely. Like it is, I think I measured it and it was about 55 centimeters, the size of the leaves it's giving me at the top, and they're beautiful. But they're just crammed in a corner at the moment and they haven't got any space to grow. If it gives me another one, it's going to be pushing against the wall. So yeah, the mother plant, like if you look at it, like I'm looking at it right now, and it doesn't, in fact, I'll spin you around so you can see. I think you should be able to see it. But yeah, the mother plant looks pretty healthy. However, when you get up close to her, she is kind of slightly yellowing, and I have seen mealybugs in a few places. And weirdly enough, like mealybugs are a pest that you wouldn't necessarily expect to find with the Monstera dubia, but one that I have kind of struggled a little bit with that plant. And yeah, they're a real pain to get gone as well. So so I think at this stage, while I want to kind of conserve that top growth anyway, I think I am probably gonna chop the plant, propagate it, and pass some sections of it on to new homes, because I just don't have the space. I don't have the space for the whole plant, and it grows so quickly. I think I will be able to get it back should I want to further down the line. So yeah, I'm gonna try and put on my big girl pants and be, I don't know, not be too sentimental about that. And it also means that, yes, some other people will get the chance to grow the rest of the plant. So yeah, I don't know. It's on my list though. I just know it's going to be quite a big job. And so I feel like I really need to put aside some time to do it. I often find with like really big things like that, you so have to be in the right headspace in order to take them on. Like some days I'm like, oh, okay, I'll plan to film that or talk about that today. And if it's something that I feel requires quite a lot of energy, if I'm not in the headspace, a lot of the time I'm like, well, there's no point in chatting about it on camera because I'm not gonna be fully in it, if that makes sense. The same goes actually for my massive euphorbias in the bedroom. They are in desperate need of a repot, and I'd really like to get them into terracotta. Again, it's been something that I've been thinking for months and I just haven't done. So yeah, yes, another thing on the list. But that one, again, that's going to be, when I say a big job, it probably won't actually take that long, but because they are so darn heavy and spiky, it's probably going to be the case of like wrapping them up in bubble wrap or something first. It's probably a 2-person job, I would say. I mean, Ross would probably help me, but if I could get Emma over here or something at some point soon, then I think it might be a 2-person planty job. Also, if you can hear the leaf blower, I am sorry. It's just started in the last kind of 15 minutes. Okay, so that's not like the most secure thing in the world. It is a little bit wobbly, but it's staying put. And I think considering this is not a long time solution, I am happy with it. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and secure the plant gently and carefully, because obviously it's going to need a little bit of bending, but secure it to the moss pole. So really the leaf here, I'm not going to worry about straightening that up, because as soon as I turn it towards the light, it will straighten itself up. Oh, but it's this bit here, this growth point going up, that I would just like to hold in place if I can. Perfect. And although that's not like amazingly straight at the moment, it's not the end of the world. As I say, it will kind of straighten itself up. And yeah, I don't want to bend it too much right now because I don't want to break it. But actually you can see, like with that next leaf, it will almost be at the top of its moss pole. So what I'm really hoping now is that these can kind of root in and I can get some amazing aerial roots, so that hopefully maybe at that point then I can do the chop and extend. The only annoying thing with these moss poles is that the section there is all plastic, so I've got this node that isn't going to be able to root unless I do some air layering. And I can't really think of a way around that apart from cutting out that section of the moss pole, and then considering it's not the most stable, sturdy thing as it is, I'm not sure that is the best idea. But what I was going to say as well is, I know I showed you in my updates video the other day that I've been kind of revamping pots and stuff. I know I go through phases of like getting obsessed with all sorts, but right now it's pot making. And the one that I showed you the other day was kind of like grey, and I've done a bit more on it, so this is what it's looking like now. I kind of wanted it to look like almost like a handcrafted mud terracotta type pot. You can see it was very kind of shiny and ceramic before, so that's what it looked like previously, and that's what it's looking like now, and that's what I have been growing this one in, just to kind of stabilise it, because oh my god, isn't that so gorgeous? I'm so excited about that. Oh, and I've also got another one here that I did, which was literally just like an old coffee cup, and I just did that to disguise another coffee cup that I'm growing this one in, but I just thought it looks a little bit nicer. It actually looks nicer in person than it does on camera, in my opinion. But yeah, right, okay. What's next? So I've just been wandering around, kind of looking at other plants, looking at other things that need doing, and to be completely honest, I think I am in a good enough, productive enough mindset now to be able to, and this is very boring, but to be able to crack on and do the admin-y things that I was putting off this morning. So I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to leave the other planty things for something, for me to look forward to once I've finished. So yeah, but thank you guys so much. Honestly, I feel like I've really needed this time this morning, and I just want this to be like a reminder to myself and to you that if you are feeling stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, whatever it is, put aside that time for you to do something relaxing, meditative, planty, like whatever, because my God, it makes such a difference, and it does really shift your headspace. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.